Alright, what's up you guys? In today's video, we're gonna be going over my story, how I went from $0 to $40,000 a month day trading. And yes, I do have the forehead out. I'm letting it breathe today. It doesn't look too bad. I didn't do the edges. It's just an all natural slick back. So yeah, let's get right into it. I was born in Puerto Rico, raised in New York. I grew up so close to family and I barely had friends. I've never slept over at a friend's house. Just to give you an idea of where we're going with this, okay? Very close to family. Barely had any friends. Both of my parents were in the Army and the National Guard. They both were deployed throughout the years. So I was kind of raised, with seeing my parents basically risk their lives just to make a living, just to support me and my brothers. I've told their brothers I'm also very close to them. We all live in different states, but yet we're still very close. We still play Fortnite almost every weekend. But yeah, I grew up with my parents getting deployed a couple times, and yeah, I grew up seeing them work very, very hard just for money, just to make a living. So that was kind of hard, especially when, they would leave for, months, maybe a year. But yeah, that happened a couple times. They weren't the craziest strict parents, but, they weren't the coolest, lenient. They were kind of strict. But yeah, ever since I was little, I don't know why, but I actually wanted three. Right? Number one, I wanted to be my own boss, and I knew that since a very young age. Number two, I wanted to be a YouTuber. Didn't know for what, but now that I know trading, now I can talk about trading, and I have a YouTube channel for trading for me. And we're almost gonna get 10,000 subscribers, so that's a dream come true. Third thing I wanted was to be rich. Now, I'm not, exactly where I want to be, but I'm pretty comfortable, and I'm definitely rich in other aspects of life, love, family. I would say I'm pretty rich in all that other stuff, right? And then I have freedom, so I'm doing pretty good right now. But yeah, everything I've wanted ever since I was young, I have it right now, basically. But yeah, what's next? I have here in preschool and in the first and second grade, I was going to a bilingual school here in New York. So bilingual, so we were all speaking Spanish. So I guess half of the school was English, and the other half was Spanish speaking. So everyone in my classroom was speaking Spanish. I was speaking Spanish. The teachers were teaching in Spanish. I was a cool kid, we were speaking Spanish. It was natural. But then in third grade, we moved to another city. Basically, it was kind of the same city but different school district. So I had to go to a school that only spoke English, and I feel that's when I started to become just very quiet, very shy. I had to go to ESL to learn English. But yeah, I would say that transition, that's where my shyness and my quietness started from. So yeah, from being shy and I guess having that language barrier, I was a loner. Okay, I really only had one best friend, and that was throughout, my whole school career. I was very, very much a loner. Being popular didn't really interest me, and I didn't really get along with, the white kids. All right, I don't want to say white kids. The kids. I didn't get along with them. Okay, it was very different. Okay, and then I have here in middle school. So in middle school, again, I was very lonely, very shy, and I was to the point where I was scared to go to the cafeteria, because there was a lot of people in the cafeteria, and then I didn't really have a friend group, so I didn't really have a lunch table. If I had a lunch table, it was just me and my friend, right? Me and my best friend, or me and two other people. It wasn't a full lunch table. So I was scared to go to the cafeteria. So there was a couple times in middle school where I had lunch in the bathroom stall, and I specifically remember eating these peanut butter cracker sandwich things. I'll put a picture of it here. And I remember eating that in the bathroom stall for lunch because I didn't want to go to the cafeteria to get food and stuff. So I'd eat in the bathroom stall a couple times, or I'd eat in like a teacher's, what do I call it? A teacher's room. And the reason I'm bringing that up is to kind of make you understand why I kind of hated school. You know, it was basically because of that. I was a loner, and I didn't like it. I didn't like school. Fast forward to high school, I was about 15 years old, and I got my first job at Chick-fil-A. And this was during COVID. So if you're wondering, well, I was wondering what I was doing in COVID, because I was like, damn, I should have started trading during COVID, you know, because everyone always talks about that. What I was doing during COVID was either I was playing Fortnite or I was going to school online, and then that was it. But yeah, I started working at Chick-fil-A during COVID, which is crazy. Here's a picture of my first day at work, and I remember the first 2 weeks at Chick-fil-A, they specifically had me buttering buns and toasting them, and like that's the only thing I would do for like 2 weeks. And it doesn't sound like much. It wasn't, you know, crazy hard, but it was hard standing in the same spot for hours. So like I remember like my left foot was hurting, so I kept like kind of leaning on it. It was tough. So when I got my first paycheck, it was about 2 weeks after that first day of work. I thought this paycheck was gonna be at least $500. I mean, I was expecting a bag. I was expecting good money. And when I got my check and I saw the check was $200, which, don't get me wrong, is good, right? $200 in today's economy, though, is it that good? I don't know. But anyways, the check was $200, and I mean, I was just pissed off. I thought this check was gonna be at least $500, and when I saw that it was $200, I was like, there's no way I did all of that work for this, you know, because it felt like I was putting in hard work, and like I got $200. And here's, my mom ended up taking a picture of when I got my first check, and you can see in the photo I am pissed off. I was very pissed off. And then right from that moment, I guess I understood that working a regular job is like, for me, it wasn't it, because I wanted more, right? I wanted more money, and I wanted to make it quicker, and I was not going to do that with a regular job. So I knew eventually I was going to get rich somehow. I just didn't know how, you know? I knew eventually I was going to be working for myself somehow. So when I turned 17, I was speaking with my friend, and she told me that her cousin was like making $500 in a day. And I was like, what? Like, what is she doing? I want to do that. And she told me that her cousin was a truck dispatcher, which, if you don't know, a truck dispatcher is just like a person that dispatches trucks. Okay, it makes deals for the truck drivers. And I thought that was cool. You know, I can work from home, I can work for myself, and I can dispatch these trucks. So I remember buying a course. It was a very cheap course. I think it was like $40, and it was about truck dispatching. And immediately I got my own company with my mom, because I was 17. So like my mom helped me kind of, you know, make it official, and I was truck dispatching. Even though I basically failed, I only made like, I think it was like $50 that I never really got that, now that I think about it. But yeah, it was like a month of just building out the website. You know, it was my first ever business, and if you've ever started your first business, you know there's a lot of learning that comes with that. So even though I didn't succeed with that first company, I definitely learned a lot of skills that other people didn't know, right? I learned how to build the website, I learned how to talk on the phone, how to cold call, all these other things and I'm very thankful I did that. And I did that at 17. But yeah, that was the first business I made, and I learned a lot. I ended up working at Chick-fil-A for a little bit over a year, maybe almost 2 years. I don't remember, but working at Chick-fil-A was really fun. I definitely made a lot of new friends. Eventually, I started working at Starbucks. My brother was a shift lead there, so it was easy to get hired there. And at the time, it kind of was not my dream job, but it was a job that I really wanted, because my brother was telling me about like all of the good things they had, all of the benefits, and it was definitely a really good company to work at. It was fun. I gained my coffee addiction from there, and eventually I graduated from high school. Thank God. This is my high school quote here. You can tell ChatGPT's been my bestie. She's been my bestie. I've been using ChatGPT even in school. I can't believe that was my quote, but it makes sense for me, because in school you gotta do what you gotta do. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, after I graduated high school, I was forced to go to college. I did not want to go to college, but my parents said that if I didn't go to college, then I had to move out. And I decided to go to college because I didn't know what else I was going to do. I was not going to keep working at Starbucks, again, because I wanted more. But yeah, I started college. I went to a community college. I studied business administration, and business administration honestly felt pointless because what is my professor gonna tell me about owning a business? He's a professor. So of course going to college felt pointless. But somewhere along in college, it was during my first year, I learned about Forex, and I'm pretty sure it was through YouTube. You guys probably the same, right? We all saw like a day in the life of a day trader, and we're like, what? He's clicking buttons and making money, and then he gets to do whatever he wants. That's my dream life that I'm living right now. But at the time, that's what I wanted. So I definitely got immediately hooked on the idea of trading. So I bought a $200 course of Forex, and I specifically remember watching this course, taking notes in college. I have a video of that right here. It was in the study room that the college had, and I was supposed to be doing my homework, but I was studying for Forex. And I loved the idea of learning a hard skill that I could make so much money from. And I remember that's why I took the video, because I just thought it was so cool. And at the time, I didn't know that prop firms were a thing. So what I first did was I took my tip money from Starbucks. Here's a picture of that. I think it was like $600 of tip money, and I put it into a live account. And in the live account, I was literally risking $1 to make $2. I also have a picture of that, which it sounds crazy because like not too long ago I was talking about risk reward ratio with a student, and then I was like, we're risking $1 to make $2. And then I was looking at my photos yesterday and I saw that, and I was like, whoa, like I was actually risking $1 to make $2. That's crazy. And then that was on Euro USD, which is also funny because I don't trade that right now. But yeah, I started out with Forex. And then one day I was trading that small live account, and I ended up making $100. And in the same day, I was so hyped up that I kept trading, and then I lost the $100. And I think from there that kind of scared me because I didn't keep trading. I took a long break. This break was like over a couple months, and I feel like maybe I also stopped because of school, and then I was working early mornings in Starbucks, so maybe that's why I took such a long break from trading. But yeah, that break ended up being a couple months. During this break, I did a lot of things. I worked at a haunted hayride for about a month with my girlfriend. Here's a picture of that. And the job was just me parking cars, and it was only during the weekends for a couple hours, but I didn't like it. I thought it was pointless. I only ended up making like, I think my check was like $140, and I was like standing for hours, so I thought it was pointless. Another thing I tried was drop shipping. I tried creating a drop shipping website basically, and that only lasted for about a month. I made nothing on it. I'm pretty sure I also bought a course on it as well, but yeah, that didn't work out. And I ended up working at Starbucks for about 2 years. And this Starbucks job was very fun. I was working with my brother, my girlfriend. Also, if I mention my girlfriend a lot, I've worked every job I've had with her. I worked at Starbucks with her, the haunted hayride one, the Starbucks, and then my last job, which I'll talk about soon. But anyways, Starbucks was really fun, and I think it was too fun because the store manager, she just had it out for us. Her name was Jules, and she was something. I'm like bash her on here, but you guys know how it is when the store manager is against you, right? It's not too fun. So eventually I got written up at Starbucks, not by the store manager, but by another shift lead, because I didn't have my camera turned on at DTO, which DTO is just when you're taking drive-through orders, and like at the Starbucks that I was working at, you could turn on your camera so they could see you while they're ordering. It was dumb as fuck, right? I hated that shit because the angle of the camera was like down here, and then like I had to turn on the camera. I didn't like it, so I didn't turn on the camera. Plus, when I was working at Starbucks, I really only liked making the drinks. I didn't like taking orders, again, because my communication skills are they're not good. So yeah, I got written up because I didn't want the camera on. And then I ended up having this meeting with the store manager, again, Jules, and she told me that I had to do a 2-week intensive training on DTO, which basically meant that I was gonna be on DTO my whole shift for 2 weeks. And I told her I'm not doing that, so I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks. And I did that. My heart was beating out of my chest because I didn't have any other plan, right? I didn't have a backup plan. I put in my 2 weeks at Starbucks with no idea what I was gonna do after that, and it sucked because I actually liked the job. So I started looking for jobs, and eventually I got hired by this, what is it called? I was looking for jobs that I could work through at home, again, because I kind of wanted to be my own boss. So I got hired by this insurance company. I'm pretty sure their name is Global Insurance. I don't know if you guys know them, but yeah, it's huge agency, huge insurance company. Honestly, they're like a pyramid scheme now that I work through them and stuff. But I had to do this license test to get licensed to work insurance, and I failed that test about 3 times. I finally passed, and after it was like over a month of me training with the insurance company and not getting paid. And then I had this week where I got I think it was 2 or 3 sales. Here's a picture of that, me selling life insurance, and I made $1,800. And I was like, whoa, I just kissed the microphone. Anyways, and I was like, whoa, that's actually really cool. I made that much money in a week, for selling life insurance, talking through people through a camera, because it was through Zoom. And I was like, yeah, let's keep going. And I guess my social battery kind of died out because I didn't get any more sales after that. It was 2 weeks after that, I didn't have any more sales. So I was like, damn, this is not working. I'm not good at selling insurance, so let's get a real job. And that real job was the hardest job I've had, and the job was at a grocery store working overnight shifts. So I would work from 10 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. and this was a brutal job because not only was it lonely because I was the only girl, I was the only young girl. My co-workers were older white men, and they were all over 6 feet tall. Mind you, I'm 5'2", so I'm pretty short. But no, they were really cool. It was just kind of lonely, because I couldn't really start conversations with. I didn't know how to, but they were really cool. They were really nice people. And also this job, the timing was hard, of course. I felt like a vampire, and stalking is really hard because it's a lot of steps. My shifts, every time I had a shift, I had anywhere between 15,000 to 23,000 steps. And I remember there was this really hard weekend. I had to work the weekend of Thanksgiving, and it was 2 days in a row. And in these 2 days, I almost had 50,000 steps. It was brutal. But yeah, I knew working that job, I couldn't do this for the rest of my life. There's absolutely no way. So what I decided to take trading seriously because now I could. I finally had the opportunity to be at home, around New York Open, which is 9:30 a.m. So I decided, you know what, even though this job's gonna be really hard, I'm gonna keep it and I'm gonna grind out with trading. So once I decided to take trading seriously, finally, after a couple months of, not trading, what that looked like was I would get home from a long shift around 7 a.m. I'd go to sleep for about 2 hours, and then I'd wake up literally 5 minutes before the market opened. I'd open up my laptop, I'd be looking at the charts, and that was hard, right? Because I was barely sleeping. I was also going to college at the same time, so I was really grinding it out. Looking back though, I'm very thankful I did it, and I'm not gonna lie, while I was doing it, I loved it. I loved being on the grind. I loved actually working for something that I wanted. But yeah, I think it was I'm pretty sure it was over 9 months of doing that schedule of with the 2 hour sleep and then waking up to trade. Oh, here's actually a picture of me getting home from work and trying to trade at 7 a.m. That's what this picture is. I came home at 7 and I was like, you know what, I gotta grind. Let me get on the charts early. And that's what that picture is. I look very tired. But yeah, I would say about 9 months of consistently showing up every day, I finally passed my first evaluation evaluation, and that was actually with Apex. So yeah, it was about 9 months of me showing up every day, consistently losing, consistently over trading, blowing accounts left and right, because at this time I started trading prop firms, and prop firms was really good because I didn't need my own capital. I just needed to buy the accounts. It kind of is my own capital, but not really. But yeah, I would blow many prop firm accounts. I remember one of my first prop firm accounts was a 150k account with Top Step. I was very close to passing it, and then it was like in 5 minutes I blew the account, and I was like, what just happened? There was so many times in those 9 months where I would blow an account and like not even really realize what I was doing until it happened. Like, it was like I would kind of black out while I was trading, and like it was like I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing what I was doing, but I was still doing it. You guys know how if you're struggling, you know how it is. It's hard, and I struggled like that for months. But something about me, during that time I was very consistent with showing up every day. Even though I was barely sleeping, I was showing up like I was making millions. Like, I was very consistent showing up. I was good with not quitting. Like, I would blow an account and I'd be like, what's next, you know? But yeah, about 9 months I finally passed my first evaluation, and it was with Apex. So it was a 1-day pass account. Basically what I did to pass it, I just gambled it. I finally passed an Apex account, and the way I passed it was Jerome Powell was speaking. It was during FOMC. He was speaking. I was slapping on many contracts, gambling basically, and I ended up passing the account. So I passed my first evaluation by gambling, and I couldn't believe it. You know, I was finally funded, and it was such a big win. So I decided to try to get a payout. And I did get a payout. Somehow, someway, I ended up getting the payout after blowing the funded account many times. But yeah, my first funded account, I actually got my first payout. And here's the picture of the payout certificate. It was $2,500 from Apex. And when I got the $2,500 in my bank account, it was such an unreal feeling. You know, first of all, it was the biggest check I've ever gotten at the time, and it felt unreal. You know, it was like, wow, like I could actually do this, and that just lit another fire under me, right? So I kept going. Unfortunately, I ended up blowing that account like the day it got approved. I blew the account, and obviously that sucked, but I got a payout from the account, so I knew if I could get a payout, I can get another one. So we kept going. And then during this time, I ended up getting funded many times, but I never really got a payout. And then eventually, this prop firm came out called Fast Track Trading. And this company, let me explain to you what happened. So Fast Track Trading allowed you to buy a funded account, and it'd be like an instant funded account. So you didn't need to have any valuation for it. Okay, you just bought the account and boom, you were funded. So what I did was I bought a couple accounts. I took my time with the funded accounts. I traded very slow, and this taught me something, right? This taught me that if I just trade slow and I take my time and I take it serious, I can get a payout. Because I ended up being eligible for my first $10,000 payout, and I actually made a video about that on my YouTube channel. If you want to check it, go check it out after this video, of course. But yeah, the payout ended up getting approved. Right here I have a screenshot of it, and then I think it was like a week later, maybe a couple of days later, it got unapproved. Yes, you're hearing it correct. It got approved and then it got unapproved. So when I heard that, oh my gosh, like I had already told everyone. I mean, I told the YouTube, I told my family, and I never ended up getting that money because the prop firm ended up shutting down, and that honestly, that sucked. But even though I never got the 10k payout, technically it was my 10k month, right? It was my first time I was eligible for a 10k payout with a prop firm. And once I knew I could do it, that's all I needed. Even though I didn't get the money, I knew that I could do it. So again, I kept going. And I think it was about 2 or 3 months after that 10k payout, I was eligible for my first $20,000 payout with Top Step. And the way I got this payout, I would say, was again taking it slow and having a system. And when I say system, I mean I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what trade I'm looking for, how much I'm risking on the trade, how much I'm targeting, how much do I need to get the payout. And then outside of trading, I'm doing other things like meditating, praying consistently, all these other things. If you want to hear more about that 20K payout, because I feel like for me it was like a very mental thing, like a mental breakthrough. And if you want to know more about that, I also made a video on it. If you want to go watch it after this video. But yeah, after that 20K month, I mean, I knew it wasn't luck. And I knew it wasn't luck because I was trading with a system, right? It was a system that I could repeat over and over again. And like I said, the system is just kind of knowing what you're doing, what you're looking for, what you're going to do tomorrow, what you're going to do if you lose, what you're going to do if you win, you know? And knowing what I was doing definitely helped me be consistent enough to get that 20K payout. And again, I knew it wasn't luck, because I knew exactly what I was doing and why I was doing certain things. So after that 20K month, obviously it wasn't life-changing, but it changed everything, right? It changed everything in my head, because I was like, wow, this trading stuff it could change your life in a couple days. If you don't know, that 20K payout only took me, I think it was like 2 weeks to get to that payout, which is crazy. So yeah, after that, the next month, I remember getting a $13,000 payout from Funded Futures family. And again, I knew it wasn't luck. I knew I was not getting lucky because I was looking for very specific trade setups. I was following a system, so I knew I could repeat it. So then from there, I ended up going full-time with trading. And ever since that, I recorded everything last year. It's been documented. You can go back and see. I had multiple 10, 20K months, multiple 10K payouts. And then this year has been really awesome. I started live streaming on YouTube every morning, every trade that I take. And I got my first $40,000 month in February, and then another $40,000 month in March. So it's been crazy. It's crazy because, you know, I went through so much failure, and then like I learned a lot of things. I failed at a bunch of things. I'm pretty sure I tried more things that I mentioned in here, but like those were the main things. And yeah, it's been such a crazy journey. It feels like it wasn't too long ago I was just going to school. You know, it's crazy how time flies. I was looking at these photos that I'm showing you guys, and I'm like, damn, like that was almost 6 years ago. Like that was a long time ago, and it feels like it was just yesterday. So time is flying. If I would say, if you're struggling with trading, start taking it serious. Start taking yourself serious, okay? If you have this vision in your head about you being a successful trader, and this version of yourself does certain things, act like that version of yourself. That's my biggest advice. But yeah, that's my story. A lot of it was documented, you know, through YouTube, but the beginning process wasn't. You know, the beginning was a big hustle, huge hustle. I worked very hard to be where I'm at, and like I said, you know, I know the struggle. I know how it is. I know how hard trading can be. So keep your head up, keep fucking going, keep working your ass off, keep studying yourself as a trader. If I could do it, you could do it. I promise you. There's no secret to it. Take it slow, manage risk, don't overtrade, and pretend like you're a profitable day trader. You know, act like one. If you act like a profitable day trader, you will become one. I'm telling you from experience. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you guys. That was a quick breakdown of my journey. Nothing crazy, right? The best part is obviously that, like, you know, I was gonna say I got it out the mud, but like I didn't. You know, I hustled my way up here, and I'm very thankful for every single thing. And then also, we're about to hit 10,000 subscribers. That's crazy. So we'll see what happens with that. And also, when I first started this YouTube channel, I told you guys that, you know, I want to get a house. And at the end of this month, so I think it's April 30, we're going down to Texas and we're gonna go house shopping. So it's like all the dreams are coming, I was gonna say coming through, they're coming true, guys. And it's just a result of hard work and self-belief. So I love you guys. I want to thank you guys for all of the support, and I hope you guys have a good day.